Let's go. Get up. Wakey, 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 huh? If I'm awake, you're awake. Let's go. Kyle's still sleeping, of course. That's not a big surprise. No big surprise. So, how are we doing on this? What is it? It's Wednesday, right? Yeah, it's 2 days in a row without hockey. I lose track. I don't know what to do with myself when there's no hockey. I should have streamed the Boston Toronto game last night, but Mrs. Jaws and I were otherwise engaged. Those late games, man, they messed me up. I'm still kind of groggy. My body is still wondering what the hell's going on. So we're good to go. Let's see what happened last night. I know Boston. Did the thing. Hey, Jameson. So where's my scores? So yesterday, the Kings beat the Canadiens 5-1. Good job. Capitals beat the Hurricanes 4-1. The Bruins beat the Leafs 5-3. Now we have to talk about that. The Stars beat the Sens in overtime. The Sharks beat the Wild in overtime. Sharks continue creeping. The Blues beat the Flames. The Flames, man, holy hell. The Avalanche beat the Ducks. That's kind of disappointing. I wanted the Ducks to continue that, but they beat them 4-1. The Jets beat the Canucks 5-3, and then the shootout, the late game, was the Kraken and the Jackets, with the Jackets getting the victory. Hey, Hungry, how we doing, bud? And as we creep over to the standings, Canadians 22, Bruins 22. Who saw that coming? They've won 7 straight, and they're in second place all alone. The Sens, without Brady Tkachuk, are in third place with 20 points. Then you've got the Lightning and Wings at 18, and the Panthers and Leafs at 17, Sabres at 14. So we remain close. Bruins have 22 points. They've played 2 more games than us. It is what it is. The Canadians are still solidly, with only 16 games played and 22 points, solidly in first place. Over in the Metro, the Penguins haven't played in a couple of days here. They're still stuck at third place, 21 points. Devils, Hurricanes. And then the Flyers, Islanders, Rangers, Capitals, Jackets bring up the rest of the Metro, all within 1 point of each other. So who knows which. And there's nobody streaking in the Metro. In fact, the only team in the East that's really streaking are the Boston Bruins, winners of 7 straight. Hey, Sharky. Yeah, over in the West, that's where things get really fun when you want to talk about the standings. Avalanche took advantage last night, 27 points. Good grief. They've only lost 1 game in regulation. So I wonder if the Panthers' run started by beating the Boston Bruins, who at that point had the best record ever in the regular season in the NHL. The Avalanche certainly appear to be at least on that type of a pace, even though they got 5 overtime points. Be interesting to see if they get the President's Trophy and there's a rematch in the Stanley Cup Final. Because I always like to say the Panthers, that's their specialty, is eliminating President Trophy teams, even when they are the President's Trophy team. After the Avalanche, Stars are solid in second place. They're back to normal. The Jets. And then the Blackhawks are right there. They've won 3 straight, 19 points. The Mammoth have now lost 3 straight, and they look like they're coming down to earth a little bit. Wild, Blues, Preds bring up the rear, but the Wild are tied with the Mammoth as well. Over in the Pacific, the Ducks finally lost 23 points, Kings at 20. Kraken at 19 and the Sharks at 19. So you've got the Ducks, the Kraken, and the Sharks in playoff positions, and then the Knights, Oilers, Canucks, and Flames out. And the Flames are out. Like the Flames have played themselves out of any playoff discussion in the first 18 games. They're done. They're done. Like they've lost 3 straight. They were 4-9-2 or something like that. So when the rubber hit the road where they really had to turn things around. Sharks, they're sitting there, and that would be wild if we had Blackhawks and Sharks right now. If the playoffs were to start, the Blackhawks and Sharks would be in. Times have changed. Hey, Craig, cats are fine. We're good. We're in decent shape. Vincent says Panthers won without Barkov and Kulikov. Kachuk brothers drink from the coconuts. Yeah. I saw that, Stacy. Yeah. Now, I heard he got injured. Do we know, talking about Stolarz is injured, do we know how long he's injured? Because I watched Dangle this morning, and as of last night, they didn't know. Dangle called for Berube, an assistant coach, to be fired. That must have been on Twitter. Yeah, he's not happy with Stolarz, but he's out hurt. I mean, the Leafs, I don't know what the Leafs expected. Like, I don't know what they expected. They got rid of Marner. They let Marner go, however you want to put that. And you just don't replace those points without, and I'm not saying that's the only problem. And I mean, they're treading water. I mean, look, where are they? 17 points. If they won a couple games in a row, they'd be in a playoff spot. So, the question is the Bruins, can they continue to play that well? But I get it. Steve's got trauma. We'll put it that. I was going to say PTSD, but I don't think that's quite it. He's just traumatized. I would too if I was him at that point. Hungry says, gotta love that even hockey psychology admitted that the Leafs last year were propped up by Stolarz standing on his head. Yeah, Stolarz' numbers were fantastic yesterday. Exactly, Vincent. It's Bob's specialty, getting rid of President's Trophy team since the Tampa sweep. Exactly. Hey, JC. Yeah, Kazuma says, if you had told me the Panthers would be behind the Bruins, Sharks, and Krakens this season, and Atlanta Blackhawks too, right? Hey, Jimmy, Mr. Vids, David, how we doing? So, yeah, I know Stolarz, Demko, and Anderson's always hurt in Carolina. Like, that dude can't stay healthy for 2 weeks. I can't remember last time when Anderson stayed healthy for 2 straight months. JC says, Lorenz, the chat jumped, and I lost what he was saying. Lorenz almost kills Swayman, and not somehow it's Bennett's fault too, and now it's somehow Bennett's fault too. Yeah, and Leafs fans are saying it's just a normal hockey play. Of course, which is interesting since Lorenz is a former Panther, right? You would think they would more easily throw him under the bus. Yeah, I know. Matthews is hurt too as well. Yep. Kazuma, wonder when Tarasov will get his first win. We got to score some goals for that dude, man. Jimmy says, as a Bruins fan, I was like, wait a minute, we're winning games? I mean, 7 straight is nothing to sneeze at, right? There you go, Vincent says, expect Tarasov win in Nashville. They'll be tired after the Sweden trip. All right. We got to get him some goals. So, yeah, I mean, who are the Bruins beaten in these 7 games? How far back does this go? Let's see. They lost to the Senators 7-2 on October 27th. And since then, they've beaten the Islanders, the Sabres, the Hurricanes, the Islanders again, the Senators, and then the Maple Leafs. So it's not exactly murderer's row, but victories are victories. And the thing of it is that looking here, out of the 7 games, they've all been kind of close. Now, the Islanders one wasn't, but the Sabres was in overtime. Hurricanes was by a goal. Islanders was by a goal. Senators was by a goal. That was also in overtime. The one against the Islanders was in the shootout. But those are the points, man. You know that stuff matters. and then 2 straight against the Leafs at 5-3. And they've got a little bit of a tougher time coming up now. They got Senators, Canadians, Hurricanes, Ducks, Kings, Sharks. So we'll have to see how they can continue to play. That's for sure. Yeah, the Sharks have passed the Knights. It's wild. I love seeing that, no doubt. The Mavericks finally fired their GM. Let's see. David says, another doom and gloomers here will disagree, but the Cats coming around, should have beaten the Sharks and played a good physical game against Vegas. Might be time for our own streak. They have been playing better. There's no doubt the last few games. I keep putting this to show the comments, and that keeps stopping. No doubt they've looked a little bit better. No doubt. Continue it at home, right? We got a nice little home stand here. Okay. Let's see how many games we got. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We don't have a road game. We're hardly on the road. We got at home, we got the Capitals, Lightning, Canucks, Devils, Oilers. So we got 5 at home. Then we got 1 game on the road, which is Nashville, which is like hardly a road trip, right? You could ride your bike. And then they come back home for the Flyers, Flames, Leafs, Preds, Jackets, Islanders. So that is 11 of the next 12 at home. Holy hell in a handbasket. Is that, I'm reading that right? Caps, Lightning, Canucks, Devils, Oilers. That's 5. 1 on the road. And then Flyers, Flames, Leafs, Preds, Jackets, Islanders. 11 of the next 12 are at home. I mean, you want to talk about an opportunity to get on a streak and buy and get some points for sure. Hungry says all the advanced stats show that the Panthers should be more competitive. They've been so far. Yeah, the puck luck has been. There's no disagreement there. All 12 Sharks fans are immune. Right? We have something like 17 out of 25 games at home, 10, 11 of the next 12, man. That's wild. You've got to win. You've got to get 7, 8 of those wins. You've got to go 8. Give me 8 and 4. It's basically a 12-game homestand. I mean, the 1 road game in Nashville, like, seriously. Like, that's as close to a 12-game homestand as you're going to get. You got to win 8 of those games. Yeah, exactly, Craig. Yeah, JC. Carlson, Celebrini, and Bedard, all in the league leaders. The NHL has finally been turned over to the future. It's getting to be about there, but these other guys are 30. You know what I mean? It's a young man's league. Vincent says Avs and Kraken have 5 overtime losses. That's a pile of points, which shows how close everything is. Collect those points. Yeah, that's what I was bitching about in the first road trip. It's like, even if they're just losses, man, get some points. Thomas, the Capitals, they're still good. Though they're not that far out, right? David said, yeah, 9 and 3. Yeah. I mean, 8 and 4, 9 and 3. It's got to be. It has to be. Jimmy says, when I look at the Bruins roster, I think we need more players. The only time I remember was Ray Bourque and Cam Neely. Well, that's a while ago. Yeah. But, you know, if they're winning, they're winning. There's always a team or two that make the playoffs, and you kind of look at the roster and you wonder, well, okay, but they're I didn't never think Boston was that bad. Like, I mean, they've had some rough times, but like, hold on a second. You know, I mean, yeah, okay. They had that President's Trophy season. They lost in the playoffs, et cetera, et cetera. Bergeron retired. They got rid of a few guys. But when you look at the names on the roster, it's not that bad. Like when you look at the Bruins stats page, so Pasta's got 22 points. Geeky's a good player. Zaka's a good player. McAvoy, Lindholm, Middlestat, Eismont, Mason Lohrei, Arvidsson, Tanner Jeannot. I mean, that's not it's not a last place team. Pete, Zadorov, Yoki Haru. I wanted Yoki Haru, damn it. I was hoping to get him. And Korpisalo hasn't been playing great. Even Swayman's numbers aren't spectacular, 308 and a 900. But it's not a last place team like they were last year. I thought last year they significantly underachieved. They're in transition, no doubt, but these guys, they don't suck. David, yeah, Saturday is going to be a hell of a game, that's for sure. Hey, Shutdown. Yeah, we're getting close to 10,000. We're at 9,600. A lot of new people subscribing because I'm putting out those Leia shorts. So we'll get to 10,000 one way or another. And then we're just going to skip all the other markers and go from 10,000 to 100,000. I don't know how we're going to do it, but that's where we need to be. Real says the Leafs might be screwed. With Stolars and Matthews hurt. Yeah, I mean, you can only have so many injuries. We know about it, right? JC says if the Rangers continue this trend, I fully expect the league to gift them the number one pick. Oh, boy. That's right. You don't want to let Sordiff go crazy on the Cats. Shutdown might make 400 more accounts to be to 10,000 subscribers. Oh, my God. Steven says, are any of our shipped out first rounders protected? I think did the Flames already use the Tkachuk one? I think they were. I don't think it's gonna be an issue. I'm not sure which ones are gone and which ones we don't have a pick still to use for 28. So I think Boston's got this one, or it might still be Calgary. It's that we've given them so many away. I've lost track which ones got used which. Real says, imagine if the Bruins win the President's Trophy and we get the last seed but beat them in the wild card again. Well, they dumped some people. Vincent says, how come the Rangers have 2 first rounders? Last year, they were dumping people left and right. Did they get a one for? No, they didn't get a one for Kreider. So let's see. Let me see what Hockey Reference says. Sometimes they'll tell you. Oh no, these are just the draft selections. Well, they didn't have a one. I'm looking here. They didn't have a one last year, so they must have moved it. They didn't have a one in 22. Not sure where they got. I'm not sure, but they were moving people last year left and right. Lindholm is out, also out a few more weeks. Jameson. I know, JC. I mean, the Flames got 96 points last year, right? I'm remembering that correctly, right? Last year, the Flames got 96 points. Yeah. I mean, how do you go from 96 points to far and away the worst team in the league? Although I will say, when you look at this, last year, they got their 96 points, but they were a negative 13 goal differential. The Wild were in the same boat. They had 97 points. They were a negative 11 goal differential. So there was a little bit of issues there in terms of Calgary, but just damn. Yeah, the Penguins are good. Not sure if they can continue to play that way. We'll have to see how long Jari's going to be out. Hungry says, how long until Dangle starts using BetterHelp instead of promoting it? Well, he's not really a good spokesman, is he? Some of the videos I watch, like, I don't know how his voice tolerates that. Like, he did a lot of screaming in last night's video, and I don't think I would have a voice left after even 2 of those screams that he does on a regular basis. But he's also probably, 20 years younger than me? Steven says, looks like Chicago has this one and then Boston next. Yeah, Boston. Boston has one from Toronto for Carlo too, right? Oh, that's a good point. Matthews being out also hurts the USA Olympics if it's a really bad injury. Maybe then Kachuk could get captain if he goes. Jameson says, do I think Quinn Hughes will wear the C for Team USA in the Olympics? Well, especially if Matthews is out and neither one of the Kachuk brothers are there, that might be. But you think Quinn got hurt last night too? Jeez. Well, whoever's left alive. But Quinn Hughes would make some sense if the rest of those guys are out. David says, might not be a popular opinion, but no Russia. The Olympic hockey gold will have an asterisk this year. Rest everyone, focus on Cup and wait till Olympics have all the top teams to focus on. I wouldn't want to play a team of Russians. That's for sure. That's for sure. It's a shame that has to go down that way. The Olympics, the whole point I thought to the Olympics was just regardless of all the other crap that's going on, we all come together and play. I mean, it's stupid that saying that the Russians should be allowed to be in the Olympics has been equated to this whole other thing of supporting all this other garbage when, like, I just want to see good hockey, man. I don't know nothing about all that other crap. I wouldn't believe it if I saw it on TV anyway. Real says there's zero chance you can convince anyone to sit out for the Olympics. Well, maybe Bennett will play himself out of the Olympics. How about that, though? We could have that. JC says, still looking like Montreal's making a big jump this year. Next year, they're the team to beat. Especially if Dobish continues to develop. I mean, JC, who's beating them now? Like, if you're Montreal right now and Dobish continues to play well, who's beating them? I suppose the Hurricanes could use their experience, but I think they're good. They match up fine against everybody else, and especially with the Panthers. I mean, even if we're healthy, they beat the crap out of us last year. We never won a game. I mean, I when I look at the rest of the Eastern Conference, I can't sit here and say I would be stunned if the Canadians made it to the Cup Finals, just because everybody else. I mean, maybe Tampa, Vasilevsky might give them some problems, but if they do get eliminated, it's going to be a hard fought blood sport 6-7 game series. Craig says Dangle has decades of working out his vocal cords. Yeah. No, he does a great job for it. I just don't know if I could scream I could get one scream like that, and then I'd get a migraine and I might pass out from lack of blood flow, which might actually make for good content. I should try that sometime. But I better put a pillow down because that's a cement floor I stand on during the recaps. So I gotta get a couple of the dog beds so that when I scream and pass out, I fall on the dog beds instead of falling and busting my ass on the floor. Because I'm usually in there for a half hour. I could pass out in the first 5 minutes. Nobody would know the difference. Boy, Joss is quiet tonight. Nobody's going to come check on me. They ain't going to think about it. Greg says Olympics are definitely weaker without Russia. It seems like the perfect opportunity to calm tension down. Yeah, What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Politics is politics. Gabe says, I agree with you, Jaws, but it's happened before. Right, even the USA has boycotted before. Yeah, kind of defeats the purpose. But on the other part to that is that I'm happy Russia's not in because Bobrovsky gets a rest. That's the selfish part of me, right? Or, well, we'll see. SoFlo is Sabrango Asian. I don't think so. Isn't he could be like he looks a little bit native. Excuse me. Like he looks like Brandon Montour. Birthplace Canada, Ontario. He kind of looks a little bit more native, to be honest with you. He just really reminds me of Brandon Montour. I hope, I mean, don't waive that kid. Hopefully we never waive that kid. Hey, Dark Fear, the Ducks lost to the Avalanche was tough. They're a good team, but the Ducks are a young team. Yeah, you'll be okay. Ducks will be good. Q's a good coach despite everything else in terms of hockey, right? David says politics is one of those things that gets bigger the uglier it gets. Sad sports can't be free of that crap every 4 years. Yeah, I mean, not to get off on a tangent or a rant, but it's just social media has just changed so much about like how we view everything. I never used to, I ain't saying I didn't care, but you see kids online fighting over politics now, kids, teenagers in their early 20s. None of that stuff existed, at least not in my world when I was that age. Nobody talked about the president because I grew up during Reagan, right? Most of my school years were Reagan. And, I was aware of people didn't like him. My parents would watch the news or whatever. But in terms of being at school and all of that, I mean, nobody cared. What was Marino doing? That's all we talked about. How did Marino look? Craig says regular season versus playoffs will slow some of these hot teams. That's true. So Safash says, I was looking at the pace from 22-23, and we are 3 points behind that pace at this rate, which is not good because we looked at that. I don't know if you were on that stream, Safash. So we looked at that a couple weeks ago. On November 5th, I looked at where we were in comparison to 22-23 on November 5th. And at that point, we were 2 and 3 points out of second place you know what I mean? And by Christmas, we were 9 points out of a playoff spot. And so my point was that between then, November 5th and Christmas was going to be the most important time of the year because I don't think this team is coming back from being 9 points out. So the point was that, okay, slow start, injuries, all of that. But now the excuses have to stop, and we got to start, at least going 6-3-1 every 10. We got to be a little bit above 500 instead of a little bit below, because if we play below 500 at all, there's just too many teams that are playing just at enough of a clip above 500 that we'll wake up Christmas and we'll be 8 points out. But the problem is we'll be behind 7 teams. Because there's so many teams that are playing, just above barely 500. All right, Colby, appreciate that. Shafaz, he's Cuban? How is he? Okay, so correct me. How does that work? If he's born in Ontario, but his family is from Cuba? But then they went to Canada. Is that what it is? His parents are Cuban Canadian. So, okay. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. Huh. Yeah, if he's on the Panthers, they have a massive marketing opportunity. I didn't know. I mean, Well, is what it is. When I used to go, because, my skin's a lot lighter than it was when I was a younger man, because when I lived down in Florida, I had dark skin because I was out in the sun all the time. And whenever me and my girlfriend would go out to eat in Miami, the waitresses would get mad at me because my skin was so dark that they just assumed I was Cuban, and they'd start speaking Spanish to me. And no habla español. I went, no, what? I mean, they would look at me like I had, what do you mean? They would get mad at me, It's funny. Hungy says social media has tribalized people and it's annoying. Yeah. Yeah, it's hard for me to go to Twitter. I know I got to engage with some things a little bit more, but yeah, even the sports stuff. Like, I'll be straight. I stopped watching Tom Grossi. I ran into a post with the No Kings protest, and he took a picture from the No Kings. He was doing the whole thing, and I was just and it was just thousands and thousands of comments that you can imagine. You know what I mean? Political comments and the whole thing. And I'm like, nope, I'm not. I'm just not going to involve myself with it, and I don't want to watch anything. I don't want to go to the Tom Grossi video to get people's political opinions. I don't care what they are. I haven't watched any of his stuff since because it just put a bad taste in my mouth. So, I understand it from that perspective too. Like, people who say, oh, well, it's his channel, he can do what he wants. Yeah, it's his channel, he can do what he wants. But if I wanted to scroll through thousands of comments of political fighting, I would watch political videos. And Grossi, there should be no political fighting on a Grossi video. That really bummed me out. Scrolling up. Princey says, I had a girlfriend in Miami. No, she was from Hollywood Hills. But we would go to Miami a lot because what the hell's in Hollywood Hills? Crash says, why are some profile pics not showing up on the side of the chat? I don't know. That's YouTube's been having some weird glitches today. No, Vincent, I would never have one from Miami. Loco Coco and the Cocoa Puffs. No. Kazuma says, try being blonde eyes and 6 foot. Everyone thinks I'm American, so the old ladies in supermarket freak out when I speak to them in Spanish. Yeah, that's in reverse, right? Yeah, who are we trading today? Good idea, Bill. Good question. Who are we trading today? Well, I think the latest one to trade is Verhaeghe. Honestly, if we trade Verhaeghe, it solves all of our problems. And I don't really want to trade Verhaeghe, but his shot percentage sucks for the second season in a row. And we could keep everybody else if we trade Verhaeghe. You know what I mean? So that's who we're trading today. There's a classic Mackey for Crosby. Don't get me started. Vincent says, if someone offers you their political opinion, tell them to go take a shower first. Right? Yeah, Bennett and 3 pit bull pups. Yeah, there's no. We might be discussing the possibility of getting Leia a friend. I don't know. We'll see. And Bill, that's the thing, is Verhaeghe's great in the postseason, right? No doubt there. But the whole thing with trying to make it all work cap wise, it's a bit frustrating. Swaggy to the Sharks for Carey Price. Oh, Ken, 10 years ago, maybe 10 years ago. Boy, oh boy. Poor Carey Price, but he got paid, right? Poor Swag. It's Swiggy until he scores more. I mean, I feel bad for the guy. I don't know what happened. You know, he's really just lost a lot of his confidence. So, Hungry, is that true? Are those the kids that got suspended? Tampa didn't learn their lesson. So Shafasi says, who's in worse shape? Where'd it go? Who's in worse shape to miss the playoffs, us or Toronto? I would suspect Toronto, because they have been, I mean, they're tied with us, right? Yeah. We're tied with the Leafs, but they've done it basically with their guys healthy for the most part, whereas we're missing half our team. And pretty soon the half part won't even be an exaggeration. Like, we're already at a third. So just a couple more injuries and it'll literally be half the team. So I would think that we're in better shape, because while Stolars and Matthews might be hurt now, they got into this position at full strength, basically. Jimmy says, I know the Bruins fans don't like Swayman, but I think Swayman is still a good goalie for us. He rubs me the wrong way. But I've said that since I didn't like the whole contract thing where he talked about he's been educated now and all of that. I understand sports, you got to have a cocky attitude or at least confidence, but he just kind of rubs me the wrong way. He in my opinion, I don't watch him every night, but in the times that I've seen him interact on camera or whatnot, kind of reminds me a little bit of the Dolphins Tua, where they have the attitude of somebody who's won championships, but they haven't won anything yet. You know what I mean? But I mean, in terms of on the ice, you can't deny that he's played pretty well. We'll see what happens next time he's in the play. They won't have Olmark to blame the next time they go to the playoffs, right? John says, I mean, Verhaeghe has been declining and he's 30 years old now. What would we want in return? Has to be pretty good still. Well, give me a pick. Give me picks. The reason to get rid of Verhaeghe would be to clear cap space so we could keep everybody else. And we have no picks. I don't think you're going to get a 1 for him at this point, not with that contract. But give me a pick and a prospect, because they're going to be taking, but we're not eating any salary. Vincent says, Bennett is great in the postseason. Verhaeghe is okay and on decline. I can't believe it, man. Dang it. Bill says, we did win against Vegas without Barkov and Kachuk. Think about that. Yeah, if we could play Vegas in the Stanley Cup final, I feel pretty good about it. Right? We could play Vegas, I'll be just fine. Yeah, and Bennett and Verhaeghe were bad in those games too. Hey, David. Yeah, I see what you're saying, Real. So in terms of their situation now might be worse. But yeah, I see what you're saying. Tampa has McDonough, Hedman, and Paul out. Good Lord. Yeah, wrap up and Bob and bubble wrap. Krabs Tarasov is fine. We've scored in his 4 starts. We scored 2, 1, 2, and 1 goal. Or 2 goals. What was the last one? We're just not giving him goal support. That's what I mean, Hungry. He got paid. He's still getting paid. Yeah. Tanev was an injury. Lawton is as well. So David says, Swaggy's a 3-time Cup champion who dominates postseason play with his physical style. We got to get to the playoffs. I get it. I get it. But he's still got to give us something more. Like, that can be true, David, but that still doesn't explain his shot percentage dipping by half or more in the regular season for the second year in a row now. Like, the other seasons he was dominating the playoffs, he was, he's playing outstanding in the regular season too. So there's got to be something there. Krabs says, sucks trading Spencer Knight. I hope Bill Zito knows generational goalies don't grow on trees. It was the right move to do for Spencer Knight because Bobrovsky's going to sign an extension. Spencer, and I honestly always have believed that was part of his issue with why he needed to go to the assistance program, because I believe that he understood from day one that there was almost zero chance that he was going to get an actual chance to be the real full-time starter in Florida because of Bobrovsky. And, we can view people and judge them and all of that, but on a human level, there's only so many times you can tell that kid, hey, you're doing a great job, but we got to play the guy that's making $10 million. Like, he deserved an opportunity to go somewhere and do what he's doing now. And we got compensated for it. You know what I mean? Jones really helped last year, and they ate some of that salary. And I think it was just the right thing to do for Spencer because he's clearly ready to be an NHL starting goalie. And if he was here, he'd be getting his 30 starts and languishing. And, also have to think about it from a financial perspective for him. Like, the fact that he at some point wasn't going to be given an opportunity, well, that costs him money. You know what I mean? At some point, if in the next contract. Now, we did pay him. We did pay him handsomely. You know what I mean? To be a backup. So that's true. But these guys want to play. You know what I mean? Spen, he's a goalie that needs to play. And there was too many times he came in and played well enough. And under any other circumstances, if it had been another goalie making $2 or $3 million or even 4 or 5, there were plenty of times when Spencer would have been given that job. But you just can't bench a $10 million goalie. You just can't do it because you make them completely untradeable, and then you're really stuck. Vincent. David says, Knight's a decent goalie, but not generational. I mean, Bob is generational. Look, Spencer has an opportunity. We do have an opportunity. He does have an opportunity. But I hear you. Frost says, why are we struggling against mediocre teams this year so badly? Because they're putting in the effort and we're not. When we're playing the upper echelon teams, our effort level is going up. Against the teams that are worse than us, they are playing a really good game, and some of these teams have gotten a lot better. The Ducks used to be an easy 2 points. The Sharks were an easy 2 points. The Sabres were an easy 2 points. You see what I'm saying? And so those teams have gotten better, and it's clear on those nights we're just not as mentally engaged as we normally would be against the top team. And I think that's what is going on in many respects. Real says Vegas has Marno. They can't get past the first round. Yeah, that's right, Krabs. He's a three-time Cup champion. Yeah. Silva says Swaggy hasn't scored a clutch goal since the 23 playoffs. Sure, his statistics looks better in 24 and 25. He was mostly a passenger. I don't know. Passenger might be a little harsh. Other guys have stepped up too, right? Like Reinhardt last year was Marchand. Like, I think it lessens the effect if one guy's production dips, if somebody else picks it up. But the regular season play is inexcusable at this point. It has to be better. Connie says, Jaws imagine we could have a Vegas Edmonton first round, but also having Anaheim, San Jose. Yeah, I mean, right now, it's just fun to play with it. But right now, if the playoffs started today, it would be an Avalanche, Blackhawks, and then a Ducks Sharks first round. If the playoffs started today, it would be Avs, Blackhawks, Stars, Jets, which is the only normal thing you're going to hear, Ducks, Sharks, and then Kings and Kraken. Okay? Which means you are guaranteed that one of the Sharks, Ducks, or Blackhawks would be in the second round of the playoffs. Hey, but times change, man. Hey, Goat Slayer, appreciate that, buddy. Did I enjoy some free food yesterday? What did I do yesterday? Let me reverse it. Last night we were up enjoying our night off. What did I do yesterday? Oh, I went and got acupuncture yesterday for my back, which is improving. So that's good. I probably won't be lifting at least for the month of November. I might take the rest of the year off because I definitely have some damage in there, but it's a lot better. So that's what I did. It was not free. It was not free. Acupuncture appointments now, at least in my area, you don't want to know. Trust me, you don't want to know. Okay. It would take two of you to super chat $100 right now, and it still wouldn't cover the acupuncture treatment that I had yesterday. But I go like once a year. Like I never go, but I've been in so much pain with this arm that I had to do it. Mythical says Chucky did have a huge slump last season with an awful shot percentage. I'm sure Verhaeghe can't stay in the 5% long, especially when he used to low. Right, but last year was 8.3, Mythical. That's my concern, is that last year we thought, okay, that's the aberration because he was 8.3. And now he's like almost worse by half again. Like, whoa. Like, okay, maybe you're not going to get back up to 14, but let's be 9 or 10. Let's at least be viable. Like, you can't be... You know what I mean? You can be making $7 million with a 5% shot percentage. So that's my concern is if you wanted to say last year was the aberration and he was going to come back strong, well, no, there's definitely some reason why this is happening now. And like we spoke about last week, he's on pace for 25% fewer shots. So now, not only is he not scoring when he's shooting, but now he's not shooting because of the lack of confidence. So it's kind of been a cumulative effect. I remember last year, he had kind of a greasy, dirty goal, and we thought that was going to get him going. And he did play somewhat better the second half of the season. But 2 years in a row of looking like this now, it starts to become a concern. Hey, Blackhawks, just keep getting points, man. Just keep getting points. James says, I'll go so far as to say we do not win the first cup without Swaggy and Erod. Yes. But somebody here want to dump him after a slow start with our Stars injury. Well, so David, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but also we don't have the cap for both of them if Barkov comes back. Like Vincent is saying, and I guess there's rumors that Barkov is going to come back before the playoffs. So if that happens, you already know somebody has to go. It has to be Erod, unless you were going to move Verhaeghe. Like right now, if the playoffs started tomorrow and you could only have Erod or Verhaeghe on the ice, which one would you choose? Because that choice is likely to happen. You know what I mean? So I understand what you're saying, but it's mainly I'm saying that if the cap wasn't an issue, of course I wouldn't want to trade Verhaeghe. But when we're going to be faced with this decision and somebody has to go, sure as hell don't want to move Luosterainen. Brutality. Oh, yeah, no, Bedard's at that level already. In my opinion, Bedard's going to already be at that level. Yeah. Krabs says the team won back-to-back cups and thinks they can just coast every game. That we coasted a lot last year. We coasted a lot last year. Let me tell you, that's the truth. Myers Bruin says, I question GM Sweeney sometimes if getting rid of picks, this isn't going to be good for the Bruins in the long term. You guys are kind of stuck. You're kind of stuck in the position of you've still got a good enough team that could probably make the playoffs. You've got a goalie that should be able to make the playoffs. So that's always the toughest position for a team to make a jump from. It's not like you've got a young core like the Sharks. You know what I mean? You've got a core of guys left over from a team that probably underachieved, and they're trying to plug holes and fix it on the run while Pasta's still in his prime and while some of the guys on the team are still developing. So it's tough. It's tough at that point to know exactly what to do because you're kind of stuck in no man's land there, retooling. Vincent says, imagine if signing Ekblad cost us Marchand this year, right? No, I don't want to know what this team would be without Marchand. That's for sure. Bill says, I hope that when Tkachuk comes back, he will at the same level as the first season. I don't think he'll be hitting people like that. But hopefully, I would assume he's going to have fresh legs and be skating all over the place. It really kind of will be like inserting a fresh Marchand into the lineup. That's how I'm viewing it. Hey, Undead. Vincent, the money was for electric bill and food, not for a massage and a happy end. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. If only. If only. Stacey says, what happened for the trade for Stamkos? Are the Panthers going to make moves to try to stay in the playoff range? So what I would say is that unless you hear it from the actual team, I don't care who you hear it from. I wouldn't believe a damn thing that anybody says about what they think they know or what they heard about moves that the Panthers are going to make because it's a tight ship. Anything that anybody is putting out on YouTube saying, I heard this about the Panthers, yeah, they heard it from some guy on Reddit who made it up and got it put on Twitter. It's bullshit. It's all bullshit. It's for clicks, and it works, and that's fine. But there was never any trade for the stupidity of a trade for Stamkos is beyond my comprehension. He's washed. Number one, he's got a contract for several more years. So yeah, I wouldn't, unless you hear it from Panthers, maybe the report, Jameson Olive, George Richards usually he's not going to put anything out. There's a reason why none of the Panthers writers peddling rumors. And it's because the way that the Panthers run their front office is none of that stuff's getting out. None of it's getting out. And so anything that you see on YouTube where this guy is going to, I heard about Stamkos and all of that, you just got clickbaited. Hey, Deadly Flames. Oh, sorry, man. Jeez. Bro, it's bad. How do you go from 96 points to what are you on pace for now? Let's see, 540. I mean, you guys, I don't even think you're on pace for 50 points. 18 times 5, 50, 40. That's too many. So like 5 times. You're not on pace for 50 points. I mean, come on, guys. 50. What is going on? David says, in all honesty, it's Erod or Swaggy. I guess you trade Swaggy, but probably get more in return for Erod. He's a better player right now. Right. Yeah. It's tough, man. We'd love to keep everybody, and we still could. If Barkov doesn't come back to the playoffs, nobody has to get traded. So we'll see how that works. Zuma says, where was Vegas after winning the Cup the following season? I think they missed the playoffs. No, let me see. Was that the year they missed the playoffs, or was it the other one? Wasn't, let me see. That was the year Vegas finished with 98 points. They didn't miss the playoffs. I think that was when they just got in at the 8th seed. Yeah. Yeah. So how'd they start that year? How did they start that season? They lost, they won, they lost, they won. They started off about 500-ish. And then they got on a little bit of a no, they were pretty 500 in the beginning of that year after winning the cup. I'm looking at win one, lose one, win one, lose, win, lose, win, lose. Yeah, you better win the Gavin McKenna sweepstakes there, Deadly Flames. Yeah, exactly. Real says, if people are expecting Chucky to look like Marchand is playing immediately when he comes back, they're going to be disappointed. I mean, I think energy-wise, I wouldn't be surprised if he's not going to be completely in sync and all of that, but I kind of feel like he's going to have his full complement of legs, of energy anyway. Barkov's different kind of thing. You know what I mean? Barkov's not, it sounds critical, but it's not. But he's not like a high energy guy like a Marchand or a Rodriguez. So with Barkov, it might be a little bit more difficult to notice whatever flaws there are. David says, Chucky only plays one way. He will be hitting people, talking smack, and will be a pain in the ass for his opponent. Yeah. Hey, Ruthless Sharky. Yeah, the Marchand trade. Yeah, no rumors, no nothing. Just we were closing up the stream, and all of a sudden it was the real NHL writers, but I'm hearing Marchand to Florida. You know what I mean? And it was like 2:59, 3 o'clock, like right when it happened. Nobody knows. Dave says, Sasha is otherworldly talented. His game will come back quick. Plus, he's a crazy worker like Bob. Don't have to remind those guys to eat right and work out. That's the truth. Yeah, Kenneth, only Josh can predict those things. I swear, Kenneth, I had 3 people with that Kachuk video message me and be like, hey, man, that's a cool thing that you did. You didn't out your sources. You just made it look like you predicted the trade. I had 3 people think that that's what happened. I was like, man, I wish I had sources that told me that thing 3 days before it happened. No, man, just one of those lucky moments, you know. Krabs says, I don't want to get rid of anyone for one round of Barkov. Right. So David says, tell me this. Name another team who could lose to its top 2 offensive players and a top D man and still be a contender. This team is amazing, and we just take them for granted. Oh, no doubt. We're spoiled. I won't even push back on that. There's no doubt. I have forgotten, David, what it was. I mean, I started the channel bitching and complaining because they were so bad, even though they were trying hard. And I don't even remember. Like, I go back and I watch some of the old videos, and I'm like, my God. Like, I was angry. I was angry, man. And now it's just kind of like, I hate when they lose, and, you want to make a good recap, so you want to make it entertaining, but it also at the same time is like, how can I complain? I'm sitting here, and there's 2 Stanley Cup final champion, there's 2 Stanley Cup champion signs in the picture with me. Sometimes it feels a little wonky to complain, you know. Hey, Kane Surge. Yeah, it's Shane Barkov's going to miss the Olympics. Kenny says, let the Ducks win the President's Trophy. They don't know any better, and they'll be happy. Yeah, we were truly horrible. Yeah, I mean, the Tom Rowe thing, my God, don't get me started on the Tom Rowe thing. Oh, my God. So, all right, everybody, I'm going to roll. We'll see. I'll make a community post. There might be a live stream tonight. That's what I'll say. Not sure if there will. We'll see how the rest of the day goes. But the good news is Kyle is awake. He's in his shower now, so we don't have to worry. He's good. He only sleep until 1, right? He's working hard. He's got to make sure that his bed stays down and doesn't get up and run away. Yeah. But in his defense, he does find me the stuff I need to pack and ship on eBay the night before. I know that because the office is underneath our bedroom, and I can hear him in the file cabinet at 3 a.m. when I wake up to take a leak. That's how I know he's still awake. So, all right, everybody, appreciate everybody hanging out. And, if I don't see you tonight, we'll see you tomorrow at noon. A lot of changes coming, a lot of different things coming here. I know I've been saying that. We're a little bit slow on getting it to happen, but there's some things that'll definitely be happening. A Flying Fluffy Elbow Room Championship celebration. You know, Mythical, if there was ever going to be a year where it could happen, this would be the year. You know what I mean? If there was ever going to be a year where that was actually possible, this would be the year. So it's not a bad idea. All right, we'll see you tomorrow.